Hi guys, I wanted to say this one important thing for our society. The main problem I see in our society is that people, I would say a critical mass, or the critical mass, contains people that inherently believe that nothing can be changed, that those that rule our society, the elite few, which would be, you could sum that up as, the corporations of our world pretty much own our lives. All right. So by that being said, nothing can be done about how we live on Earth. I strongly disagree with that. I disagree with that because if you have ever been an active participant, going towards changing things in this world, you would definitely know that one person on their own can achieve a lot. Much, much, much more than anybody of those people of the critical mass would dare to even think or believe. Sometimes those people like to say that some of us who are active, who are seen as activists, or even rebels to the system, to the establishment, that we are delusional, that we believe that things are changing for us, but they really are not. The thing is, you see, whatever one person changes, it is pretty hard to become a permanent change. The problem is that when one person changes something, the rest of them undo the change thing. See? Because they inherently, like I said before, they believe that nothing can be done about it. Nothing can be done about how we live. Nothing can be done about who controls the current of our lives, who dictates and who suggests our, through mind suggestion, who suggests our lifestyles. So that's not true that we are delusional. And again, I'm not speaking for everybody out there. I'm pretty sure maybe some people are delusional. All right, take that back. But I would say that if everybody was on board with the change, and if everybody was understanding, their true nature and how we really supposed to live in order to be happy, because then things will be different. Then these changes will become permanent. But this way, when one person strives for it and there's maybe other 5 people striving for it, changes do come, many times actually, and they're sometimes very drastic changes. However, unfortunately, they do not last, and slowly they're overridden by all these old patterns, because in order to create new patterns you need a lot of power, and a lot of times power also does come in numbers. Our life on Earth, as you can clearly notice, is very, very, very divided from our natural way of existence. Let's say, people would say, well, you have to have a job, you have to have some kind of work, you have to do something in life, right? See, the problem is that you have to do something, right? Now, just doing something is not exactly going by your nature, in accordance with your nature, because it doesn't work like that. Just doing something is usually, we're just doing something so that we can make money, so we can pay for our apartments, we can pay for our mortgages, we can pay for all sorts of things in this world that need to be paid for, right? Yeah, you see, that's the problem. Because we were not really supposed to be paying for anything. That's the very first crucial problem. If we were supposed to be working on anything, would be the things we were given talents for. And everybody, every person in this world has a certain talent, if not more. Some people have more talents than one. Which would mean that if we sharpen those talents, we would be doing something that we actually like to do, which would be now in accordance with our nature, with our personal nature, and the nature of our, the nature of a human being. So you see, so this is a discord here where we actually are taught, even by our parents and the parents of our parents or grandparents, that we just need to do something because that's just the way it is in order for us to survive in this world. The problem is surviving. This is the next problem. We don't need to survive in this world. There's absolutely nothing in this world threatening us to not be able to survive. I mean, we were put on the planet or plane, depends what you believe, what this planet is or plane, whether it's flat or it's round. We were put here, surrounded by all these natural resources for us. This was not put here just by some coincidence. We're just put in this place here, and I don't know, and we'll put all these other things here since we have nowhere to put them. No, this is here for us. This is here for us to make the best of it. That doesn't mean that a few people sees that, and now the rest of them have to work for it. You see, this is the problem. And the problem is not in the shift of the control of the resources. The problem is in the release of the control. The problem is that we, as humans, were born free. We are no longer free, as you notice, in our society, because we are bound by all sorts of laws and by all sorts of moral ethics, how we supposed to behave, even when we and our nature is being violated. We still are supposed to go by those laws, and we're supposed to be very decent and obedient humans, right? See, and that's a lot of problems I see with this right here. Okay? Because that's not the way things go. That's not the way your nature is. When you're violated, you have the right to rebel. You have the right to resist. You have the right to, to get rid of your oppressor. So, this is not per se, an instruction, go out and, get rid of all of those people. This is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you have power that you don't want to recognize and acknowledge. And because you don't do that, that's why you cannot use that power. That's why you always say, it is the way it is, and you just have to take it and accept it. What else are you gonna do? What else are you gonna do? Seriously? So you're telling me that there's a government of a few people, and then there's millions and millions, billions actually, billions of people cannot do anything to change things that a few decided to be a certain way. You see, this is where the discord comes. It's because it's always only a few people that believe that, go out there, get arrested, get in all sorts of trouble. So they're even made examples for the rest of the people, so, to say, hey, don't even dare, you see what's going to happen to you. Yeah, they happen to a few. What about when there's billions and billions of people who will do the same? Is that going to happen to billions and billions of people? I highly doubt that. I really highly doubt that. Because that's where the power really is. The power is, first of all, in knowing yourself, knowing your nature. We're not supposed to be living divided from nature. We're not supposed to be living on foods provided by some corporation that doesn't really give a crap about your health, doesn't really give a crap about your well-being. It's just exploring and exploiting your need for convenience, and that need did not exist. Listen to that. That need did not exist before cities were built and people were dragged into the cities in order to build kingdoms. Okay? That's how the cities came to be. They were made as slave grounds for the workers that were building kingdoms. So first it was a kingdom being built, and so because they needed to keep the workers around, of course they were not inside the kingdom, also there were too many of workers, so the workers were placed around the kingdom so they could come to work every day. Yeah? And so when they were coming to work every day, they were being fed and they were being given shelter. Later on, those slave grounds became cities. This is what our cities are. So now we no longer are building physical kingdoms. I mean, in a sense, yeah, I mean, we're building more and more the skyscrapers that are filled up by what? By the offices of all sorts of corporations. So we are still building kingdoms. We're basically building empires that are now much more in the cyberspace, much more virtual, because we're not really building their physical existence. We're building their power, mental power, even spiritual power, because their energy surrounds everything. Now it is above, now it is to your left, now it's to your right, now it's in front of you, now it's behind you, now it's below you. You're pretty much trapped in this construct, which is now all pervasive. And so this is how we got to this problem. This is how we got to the real, to the core of the whole entire problem of why we have to wake up every single day to go work for somebody that sometimes we don't even know. What are we even working for? Who are we even working for? What are we even doing? Why is this being made? And so on and so on. The fact that we have to always be somewhere we most likely do not want to be. Because in reality, how many people like to do the jobs they have? A tiny percentage. And then even the tiny percentage doesn't really probably like the hours they work. Probably. I'm not saying it's true. But in many cases, I'm pretty sure they don't like the hours. They don't like all the days that I have to be there. But they may like the job, pretty good. Especially comparing, now we have to start comparing to other jobs that they could have, unless, in case they didn't have this job that they sort of like, or like much more than all those other jobs. Just because they like them much more than all those other jobs, or they like them so much, does not mean that they're really, really happy by doing what they're doing with their job. You see, so now we get to this tiny percentage that we can even split into a tinier percentage to actually find the people that really love their jobs. So unless you will actually be willing to take charge of yourself and your lives, nothing will ever change. And the point where we are going, where we are headed, if none of it changes to our benefit of returning back to our true nature and living with nature, living natural foods, dwelling in nature, boy oh boy, you have no idea where we're headed to. If you only knew. If you were able to experience what some of us can envision and had in some ways experienced, you would break down right now, and probably, if you really knew, you wouldn't want to be alive anymore. I'm not saying that to joke around. I'm not saying that to scare you. And I'm not saying that to turn you my way and say, hey, we should all go out and riot. Not at all. I'm just explaining to you as it is. I'm explaining to you some reality that when you become a part of it, or even your children, your offspring, you would break down in sadness and sorrow into what is planned to be done to you. What kind of existence, miserable existence, is planned for you? With a human consciousness, but limited to a robotic, 100% pure robotic existence. I'm not sure you can picture that, not sure you can imagine that, but that's the most horrible way of living, because you know about your desires as a human, you know about everything that you once knew and once felt, and you still do, except there is absolutely nothing you can do about it, because even your own body had been replaced for the body owned by a corporation that is in complete control of your functioning and movements and your freedom. Sadly enough, I have to let you know that, because that is coming. Unless you resist, revolt, and you get out there and you say, I don't want it. I do not want it. This is not who I am. This is not what I was designed to do. This is not how I was designed to be. That's what you have to do. That's what it takes for all of us to just say we don't want it anymore. It's it. It's over.